Okay, so this is just an algebra recap video on various different types of algebra that we've studied over the past couple of years. So work out the value of 3p minus 4t squared when p is equal to 6 and t is equal to 5. So very simply, we know that when I'm subbing in, I'm using brackets. So 3, I'm subbing in 6 for p, minus 4, and I'm subbing in 5 for t. Now, remember that I'm always following BIMDAS. Okay, which means that my indice comes first. So this one doesn't, the first one here, 3 times 6 doesn't have an indice. So that's straight out 18. Minus, big mistake here is that people say 4 times 5 is 20 and then square 20. That's incorrect. Okay, 5 squared is 25. So it's 4 times 25. Okay, I have to do, I comes before m, so I have to do my indice first. 18 minus 100, and that is equal to minus 82. Okay, and remembering here the minus sign being very, very important. Okay, multiplying brackets. So this is a specifically long one. Sometimes there are only 2. There's 2 methods of doing this. Okay, the one that you will have been used to is this: 4 minus 5x plus x squared, and minus 3 times 4 minus 5x plus x squared. Okay, so I'm splitting up the 2x and the 3, and I'm using this bracket, the exact same one, twice. 2x by 4 is 8x minus 10x squared, because the x times the x. 2x by x squared is plus 2x cubed. Minus 3 times 4 is 12. Minus by a minus is a plus. 15x minus 3x squared. Okay, and then I can add like terms. 8x plus 15x. I can add 10x squared and minus 3x squared. I have nothing to add to the 2x cubed, and I have nothing to add to the minus 12. So we usually start with the highest indice. So 2x cubed minus 10 minus 3 gives me minus 13x squared, plus 8 plus 15 is 23x minus 12, and done. Okay, alternatively for this one, okay, you can use 4 minus 5x plus x squared and 2x minus 3. 2x by 4 is 8x. 2x by minus 5x is minus 10x squared. 2x by x squared is 2x cubed. Okay. Minus 3 by 4 is minus 12. A minus by a minus is a plus 15x. And minus 3 by minus x squared is minus 3x squared. Okay, and then you can add your like terms here. I've only got 1 cubed, so 2x cubed. I have 2 squareds, minus 13x squared. I have 2 x's plus 23x, and I've only got 1 minus 12. Okay. Right, the next one says factorize fully this expression. Okay, this expression is factors by grouping. Okay, so as I look at it, if I just take this term and this term, between 10de minus df, there's a d in common, and I'll be left with 10e minus f. In minus 5ef plus 2d, that actually doesn't have anything in common. So the only thing I could take out here would be 1. Okay, now the problem with this is that these two don't match, and they have to match. Okay, so if that happens, that means I need to do some rearranging. Okay, so I have 10de, and I'm going to match that with minus 5ef. Okay, the sign has to come with it. Now I started with the bigger number, so I'm left with a 2 and a 1 effectively. So if I started with the bigger number here, I'm going to start with the bigger number for the second one, minus df. And more importantly, the minus sign is in the second position. So now I look at this set and this set, the common term between 10DE and minus 5EF, I have a 5 in common and I have an E in common. 5 goes into 10 twice with a D, the E has already been taken out. Minus 5 goes into 5 once, it's come out, E has come out, and I'm left with F. In here, the common term is D, so plus D. That leaves me with 2D minus F. These two match, so I know I'm right. 5E plus D, 2D minus F. The order of these two brackets doesn't actually matter. I could have 2D minus F and 5E plus D just as likely. Okay. Right, the next one is factorise n squared minus 11n plus 18. Okay. Now, this is what I call a quadratic trinomial. There is no equal 0, so I can't use a quadratic formula. Okay, I have to use my brackets. So n by 18 is 18n squared. So I look at my factors of 18. I've got 1n and 18n. I've got 2n and 9n. I've got 3n and 6n. 4 doesn't go in, 5 doesn't go in, 6 I already have, 7 doesn't go in, 8 doesn't go in, 9 I already have. So I have all of my factors at this stage because I've started to repeat them. I'm looking to make minus 11n. 3 and 6 won't make 11. 1 and 18 won't make 11, which leaves me with 2 and 9. It has to be minus 11, so minus by a minus. And remember, this had to be plus 18, so minus 2n times minus 9 would have got us plus 18. And then I rewrite. So n squared, and instead of minus 11n, I'm now writing minus 2n minus 9n plus 18. Now there's no equal 0, and now I'm gone back to grouping. So factors by grouping like we did in the last one. N is in common in the first set, n minus 2. 9 and 18, 9 is the common factor. Okay. Now note here I need n minus 2. So 9 goes into 9n n amount of times, and 9 goes into 18 twice. Okay, it has to be minus, but if I have a minus sign out here, minus 9 by minus 2 would get me plus 18. So I know I'm right with the minus out here and here. And then my final step, and don't forget that final step because you will lose marks, and they're silly marks because you've done all the hard work, is just to put your brackets together. 9 minus n minus 9 and n minus 2. Right, the next one is also factors by grouping. So if I just look at the first one, I've got y, w minus 1. Y goes into y one time. The next one, I don't have any common factor. So the only common factor in every single pair of numbers or letters has a common factor of 1. Okay. Now, in this case, 1 goes into 1 once, 1 goes into w amount of times. So I've got something similar, but the order isn't quite right. Okay. So what I can do is I can say, well, if I take out minus 1, I'll get a minus 1 here. And minus 1 by minus w, so minus by a minus would give me a plus. Okay. And w minus 1, w is positive here, w is negative here. Okay. The easiest way to approach one of these is to rewrite it. So let's keep wy minus y the same. Okay. But let's just reverse the last ones. Okay. Because the order here was wrong. So let's put plus w minus 1. And now y is in common in the first set, w minus 1. I'm going to say 1 is my factor here. 1 goes into w amount of times, 1 goes into minus 1, minus 1. And now it works. These two are exactly the same. Y plus 1, w minus 1. So these factors by grouping, no matter how hard they get, you can twist and tweak them so that you can rearrange the order. Okay, this one I'm actually going to change. Okay, this one I'm actually going to have, and we're going to say, let's just simplify. Okay, because we didn't have one of these in the worksheet, and I think this is important to see. So simplify this. So simplify 5 over 3x minus 2 minus 7 over 6x minus 12. Okay, So if I'm simplifying, first of all, there's no equal sign, so I'm not solving it. Okay, so I need a common denominator. Okay, now anytime I want a common denominator, I can just multiply the bottom line. Okay, now 5 originally only had 3x minus 2. So now to get it a common denominator, I'm going to multiply it by this one. Minus 7, and important that minus sign is still there. Okay, so that minus sign was there here. Minus 7 was originally only over the 6x minus 12. So in order to have a common denominator of 3x minus 2, I've now got to multiply it by 3x minus 2. So I have 30x minus 60 minus 21x plus 14. And I never multiply out the bottom line in these cases. We can just leave it like this. Okay, and that will leave me with 9x minus 46 over 3x minus 2, 6x minus 12. So most important thing to take from this is, remember, if you were asked to simplify a fraction that did not have an equal sign, then you need a common denominator. Okay, so that's the big difference between a fraction that has an equal sign and a fraction that does not have an equal sign. Okay, this is simplifying. All it does is makes it into one fraction rather than into two separate fractions. Okay, right, use factorization to simplify. So factorization, okay, means I have to factorize the top and then I have to factorize the bottom. Now the top's nice and easy. That's our difference of two squares. So 4e squared minus 9 can be separated into 2e squared minus 3 squared. Okay, or you could have recognized from the very start that it was difference of two squares. 2e minus 3, 2e plus 3. Remember, a minus by a plus gives a minus, okay, which is what we have in here. Okay, so that's my top line. My bottom line is 2e squared plus 3e minus 9. So that's one of those quadratic trinomials. So multiply the first and the last term. 18e squared. Okay, I'm sorry, it's minus 18e squared. So I can have 1e and 18e, 2e and 9e, 3e and 6e. Okay, now I am looking to make 3. So the only factors here that will allow me to make 3 is 3e and 6. Now remember, I need a positive 3e, but when these two are multiplied, I need to get a negative 18. So if I have plus 6 minus 3, that will allow me to get plus 3e. But also minus 3e multiplied by 6e actually does get me minus 18e squared. So it gets me the two things that I need. And then I'm rewriting. So I've got 2e squared minus 3e. So remember, you're rewriting it in from this, plus 6e minus 9. So in common in the first set, all I have is e. And then 2e minus 3. In common in the second one, I have the number 3 goes into both 6 and 9. And e minus 3. Sorry, 2e. Apologies. 2e minus 3. These brackets are the same. E plus 3. 2e minus 3. Okay. So in this case now, my top line was 2e minus 3. 2e plus 3. My bottom line, so if I go down here, my bottom line worked out to be e plus 3, 2e minus 3. And the very last thing you do is you say, well, I've got a 2e minus 3 on the top and a 2e minus 3 on the bottom. And I can cancel these because there's nothing combining that bracket to that bracket. Remember, we said plus and minus hold things together. So the 2e and the 2e plus 3 here, they're held together. And the e plus 3 are held together. So my final answer is 2e plus 3 and e plus 3. I can only cancel full brackets that are absolutely identical. Okay, so go back to my blue pen here. Okay, rectangle has sides of length x minus 3 and units ax squared plus, x minus 3 units and ax squared plus bx plus c units. So basically I have a width and I have a length. Okay, and I have an area. And I should know that area is equal to length multiplied by width. So if I want to find the length, which I do, I have to divide both sides by the width. Okay, so in order to find length here, I take the area, which is 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 25x minus 12 and x minus 3. And I'm doing a division. X into 2x cubed goes 2x squared. And then, remember, you multiply this whole term. Remember, it's divide, multiply, so subtract, bring down, repeat. Like we said, dad, mom, sister, brother, and Rover the dog. Okay, so x into 2x cubed goes 2x squared, then multiply this whole term by this. So x by 2x squared is 2x cubed. Minus 3 by 2 is minus 6x squared. And then I subtract that whole term. So 2 minus 2 is gone, that's 0. Minus by minus 6, so we've got 13 minus 6, so that's 13 plus 6 is 7x squared, and bring down the 25x. Then I repeat, x goes into 7x amount of times. And then I multiply 7x squared minus 21x, subtract, they're gone. Minus by minus is a plus. 25 plus 21 is 46x, bring down the minus 12. Okay, x goes into 46 plus 46 times. I feel like I've made a mistake here, have I? Maybe not. X goes into, x goes into 46 times, and 46x. Right, hold on now. 2x squared. Did I make a mistake here? Plus 6 minus 13 plus 6 is, oh no, this should have been minus 7. See my mistake? This should have been minus 7. Okay, so this changes that. That should have been minus 7x. Okay, this is me going way too quickly. So lessons to be learned from mistakes is to slow down. Okay, so this should be minus 7x squared. X into minus 7x squared goes minus 7x. Then I multiply x by minus 7 is minus 7x squared. Minus 3 by minus 7 is plus 21x. So there was my mistake. And then subtract that whole term. Minus by a minus is a plus. Minus 7 plus 7 is 0. Minus by a plus is a minus. 25 minus 21 gives me 4x. And then I bring down my minus 12. And now I'm in the money. X goes into 4x plus 4 times. Minus, and now I'm multiplying x by 4 is 4x. Minus 3 by plus 4 is minus 12. Subtract 4 minus 4 is 0. Minus by minus is a plus. Minus 12 plus 12 is 0. Okay, so excuse me for the blip in the middle of this. 2x squared minus 7x plus 4 is the expression for length. Okay, right, another factorising question here. Let's look, we've got 9a squared minus 6ab. Well, I've got a 3 and an a that both goes in here. 3a minus 2b. 12 and 8, I have a 4 that goes into both of them, and a c. 4 into 12, 3a minus 2b. It works out nicely. 3a plus 4c, 3a minus 2b. We have another factorising, and this is a difference of two squares, and you should be able to notice it by your square numbers. Remember, your square numbers are 1, 4, 9, so 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, 7 squared, 8 squared, that's 8 squared is 64, 9 squared, 10 squared. So we've got 3x minus 4y and 3x plus 4y. Okay, another one where we've got to use factors to simplify. Be careful with this top one. It's not a difference of two squares. Okay, 2x squared plus 4x is very simply, I look and I say, well, they both have 2 in common and they both have x in common. X plus 2 left in the bracket. That's just my very basic common term. Okay, 2x squared plus x minus 6. 2 by 6 is 12x squared. I have 1x and 12x, 2x and 6x, 3x and 4x. And remember, I'm looking for plus 1x. So remember, if there's nothing in front of it, then it is just 1. So 2 and 6 won't get me 1. 1 and 12 won't add up to get me 1. So the only thing I'm left with is 3 and 4. Now remember, it was 2 times minus 6, so I should have put minus 12 here. I want a plus 1, so plus 4 minus 3 will give me plus x. And also, when I multiply minus 3 times 4, I would get minus 12. So I have 2x squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 6. Take out the x, I'm left with 2x minus 3. I have a 2 in common with 4 and 6. 2 goes into 4, 2x times, and 2 goes into 6, 3. X plus 2, 2x minus 3. So my top line now is 2x times x plus 2. My bottom line is x plus 2, 2x minus 3. And I can only cancel things that are identical. So I've got an x plus 2 on the top line, 2x over 2x minus 3. And remember, on the bottom, this 2x is connected to that 3, so I can't do any cancelling here, okay, because I don't have a 2x separate in its own bracket. Okay, right, algebra fractions, really important. I always need to be able to get rid of fractions, and the reason I can get rid of the fraction here is this guy, this equal sign. So remember earlier in the video, we had a fraction and it didn't have an equal sign. So that fraction, I could not get rid of the in that question I couldn't get rid of the fractions, but because I have an equal sign, it means I can multiply across a full equation and I can multiply both sides. And if I can multiply both sides, that means I can get rid of the fraction. Okay, so let's take 3x plus 5 over 2 plus x minus 4 over 3 is equal to 16. The very first thing I want to do is I want to look at how can I get rid of this fraction. I want to get rid of 2 and 3 at the same time. So if I multiplied this one by 2, I'd be able to cancel 2 top and bottom. And if I multiplied this one by 3, I'd be able to get rid of 3 top and bottom. So what number can I use that will get rid of both 2 and 3? So what will both 2 and 3 go into? 6. So if I multiply absolutely everything by 6. Okay, now I'm not really multiplying, I'm just going about multiplying. Because I know the 2 goes into 6 3 times. So 2 on the bottom can cancel with the multiplying, only because of the equal sign, remember, to give me 3. And 3 goes into 6 twice. And I don't have anything to cancel on this side, so I can leave it as 16 times 6. Okay, let's go back to my blue pen. So now I have 3 times 3x plus 5 plus 2 times x minus 4, and 16 times 6 is 96. So now I'm left with an equation that's what we call a linear equation, and I can just multiply 3 by 3x is 9x, 3 by 5 is 15, 2 by x is 2x, and 2 by minus 4 is minus 8 is equal to 96. Now, I would always like to add my like terms before doing any adding or subtract or moving across the equal sign. So we have 9 plus 2 is 11x, 15 minus 8 is plus 7 is equal to 96. I'm going to subtract 7 both sides. 7 is gone. I have 11x is equal to 89, and my final step is always to divide the number in front of the x. X is equal to 89 over 11, and you can leave it as a fraction. Okay.